92Q, Magic 95.9, and Praise Baltimore welcome you to the 2023 Inspire Him Awards, presented by AnyoneRides.com, where Zero Down delivers. Inspire Him 2023, celebrating men in the community who go above and beyond and making a difference.
Yes, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Inspire Him Awards 2023. I'm your man, Ryan the Lion, and again, we are here to celebrate the men that are doing amazing things. Inspire Him 2023 Awards, all presented by AnyoneRides.com. Yours truly, Ryan the Lion, with my man here, my fellow lock brethren.
Yes, sir.
Kelson. What's up, Kels?
What's up, Ryan? I'm Kelson, the co-host of the AM Click. You know, check us out every weekday, 6 to 10. And just excited about tonight, finally doing it for the men because, you know, men, we get left out a lot of things. You know, Father's Day, we get one day of commercials and stuff. But tonight, it is all about the fellas. You know, we can't do this thing by ourselves. We got to bring the entire squad on. We got Pork Chop on the line.
You already know what it is, baby. How y'all feel today? It's your boy Pork Chop, co-host with that guy, Kelson, of the AM Click. I'd like to thank everybody that was nominated for the 2023 Inspire Him Awards. We couldn't get everybody. Yeah. But we got the 4, right?
Yeah. Up next, let's bring up Big Brother Cole.
What's happening? How y'all feeling, man?
Hey. Okay, bro, clean over there.
Hey, hold up.
I knew you and Ryan were gonna do something, so I had to do something for the fellas. You know, we gotta represent for the fellas. I see you in 2023. Chop my name have on the t-shirt. No. I know you straight, man.
Man, you know I'm short. You can't see but half of it.
And he don't have a neck, so there's that.
We want to
celebrate better than last year, though.
Fatherhood and those guys that are doing great things in the community and doing great things with their family. You know? Yeah. So
up next is bringing DJ Twisted.
Hey, yo, Twisted.
DJ Blue Eyes. What you call? Hey, Twist. What up, DJ? Yeah, out of here. Salute to them good dads, though. Salute to them good dads, man. I'm really, really inspired, and I like to inspire. You feel me?
Yeah. I'm rounding out the things with the fathers. We got, last but certainly not least, Fats, Hustle Man. What up, my guy?
Everybody, man. I had
come from corner something.
What church you spelling money out of?
I still had to represent the right way, you know.
Yeah.
I am Fat, so you can catch me on 92Q on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. And I'm here just to, you know, inspire each and every one of the people. And I'm happy to see that the dads are here putting on for the community because we are always sure to last. And I want you to know that we're here for you, just like the rest of the team. So I'm happy to be here, suited and booted.
Hey,
Buffalo half dollar.
You come from Bible study.
Little Father's Day top.
We see you, man. Definitely want to wish happy Father's Day, guys. Happy Father's Day out to you guys. You know, we're a little bit late, but definitely sending y'all that love for all the great things that you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, look, man, let's get this thing started, man. Y'all ready to get this thing going?
Why not?
Let's go.
All right. Fats.
It's on me?
Well, who's got the first guy?
Well, first, before we jump to the first guy, and since we're celebrating fatherhood in the community, when you found out you were going to be a dad, what's the first thing that came to mind?
Straight panic for me. I was nervous, man. I had no idea what to expect. Especially for me, I had my kids a lot later in life. So a lot of my friends were already, you know, kids were grown and like doing their stuff. So I was really kind of nervous, man. Big time, especially the first one.
Yeah.
Second one, not so much, but the first one, man, that was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was young and I was excited, but I was thinking I gotta get rich quick because
same, exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a blessing. It was a blessing indeed.
One of the things I was thinking about is, you know, things that you want to accomplish and inspire and do things so that your kids can watch you and want to do the right things as well. Because when kids are young, they mimic just like you would do. You mimic your parents, they mimic you as well, and they follow what you do. So they learn from watching and seeing. So that's what I was trying to do, just make sure I was on point.
In fact, your story sort of different because you out the gate, you had twins.
Yeah, I'm about to say, man, my story a little different. So, I mean, when I knew I was having kids, it just was praying to God it wasn't 2 girls, just to be honest. I always wanted twins. I was the only child growing up. So when I got the word and opened my eyes and it was 2 boys, I was excited to be a beacon in their life and just inspire them to do good and just raise them in the right direction and not go through some of the things that I went through as a young parent. As a young child, and then be a great parent to my kids. So I was just really excited that I had 2 boys, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah. Chap, how about you? You were 96.
I didn't know my little thing could work, first of all. At the beginning, I was like, oh my God. Like, I was very shocked that I was having a boy, and because we didn't want to know what we was having. So to bring my son into this world and not knowing it was going to be a boy or a girl, it just was exciting. Like that moment of having the doctor raise him up and was like, pork chop, you can see what you having. And I stood there and looked at Dallas for maybe a good 10 seconds. I just was like, damn, it's a baby. And then I put the little brown thing down there. I was like, it's a boy.
What about you, Kels?
For me, like, I've always wanted to be a dad. So when I found out, of course, I was excited. It was like, yo, I really got to get myself together so that I can leave a legacy for my child. It was no longer about me. I had to always make sure that my child from this point forward was going to be okay. So I was excited. Yeah.
All the changes you done it.
It does. Yeah. Make you grow up real fast, especially for me. I have a girl. So like, I didn't know what to do. Like, what?
Yeah, to get right quick.
Back what? Like, you just learn those things.
Yeah, I'm blessed to be around y'all good fathers, man. I appreciate all of y'all for real, for being good dads to your kids, man.
Yeah.
Real talk. And, we can be all day about our kids, but let's keep it moving. I want to give it up for the first winner, Austin Hill. He's here online. Austin Hill, what up, man?
How's everybody doing today?
All right.
It's an honor to be amongst all the day.
He said he got electricity on.
We get lights off in the house.
I got caught leaving work. I apologize. I got caught leaving work.
Okay.
All good, brother. All good. Hey, Austin, we want to say congratulations to you, man. Salute on your Inspire Him 2023 award, being recognized for being an amazing father and a great father figure. Just want to ask you, being a father, even being recognized for being a great father, for doing, the work, what is it that motivates you to being a great father?
What started the motivation is ensuring that Corey has all the things that I didn't have, right? So Corey's my daughter. Starting out, I'm a teacher by trade as an educator, and I see a lot of students on a regular, before I got older and seeing what they didn't have and seeing how that lack of involvement, not just from like a monetary standpoint and just visibility, but just having that positive force around how that can impact them. And, just wanting her to have like the perfect life. So just exposing her to different things, bringing her to different places that we have. And then just seeing the reflection. I mean, my wife just texted me that she just made honor roll again for fourth quarter, high honors. And it's just one of those things, like all the things that we instill and try to do for her, like it's paying off. And that's, just making sure she has the perfect life and, can walk into who needs to be in life is what's so important for him.
That's what's up.
Nice. So, Dr. Austin J. Hill, we can't see you right now, but we salute you, and we want to let you know that you and all of the other winners for tonight, you will receive an Inspire Him Award 2023 presented by Anyone Rides Trophy, and you will receive a $200 stipend courtesy of AnyoneRides.com as well.
Oh, I appreciate that. You guys can't see me, and my camera looks like it's directly on, and I'm looking at it. I do.
Nope.
I don't know what's.
It's all black.
Hey, we just coming off Juneteenth. It's okay,
wow.
brother. It's all good.
Right. Well, again, congratulations to Austin Hill. Congratulations to you, Austin Hill, on your contributions to make the world better.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate you, Austin, man. Keep up the good
Thank
work.
Thank you.
And let's continue that trend, man.
Will I know who nominated me? Will I know who nominated me by chance, or?
That I don't know.
We don't even know.
Right.
I don't know.
Just know you were chosen, man.
That's right.
That's right. I think that person. Whoever it was, I think.
That's what's up. And we thank you, brother. Thank you.
Salute.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're doing something right.
Okay.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
All right. Hopefully he'll still receive them Norma bucks that we're going to send him. Now, for the next winner of the 2023 Inspire Him Awards, we're going to give it to Sterling K. Miller. Sterling K. Miller, listen, he's the father of 7.
Woo!
7. What? He graduated from Poly. He's in the National Guard. He's a recovering addict. My guy, for that alone, and he turned his life around. Now he teaches HVACR at Lincoln University. Give it up for Sterling K. Miller.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I'm also pleased to have Pork Chop interviewing me. Spoke up for me at the beginning of this broadcast. I appreciate you, bro.
My guy.
In fact, I'm honored to be amongst all of you guys, man. It's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Well, Sterling, we appreciate that. We want to congratulate you, and we want to salute you and recognize you as being one of the best fathers. And, for our Inspire Him 2023 awards. What went through your mind, though, when you realized that you were going to be a dad? Because we all answered that question. I just want to know from you.
Probably the first thing that shot through my mind was, well, you're going to have to grow up now. Because I was going to have a life depending on me. And I was fortunate enough to have a father in my home. And it's hard for a man to do something that he's never seen done before. So it was really easy for me to emulate my father because I had a great dad. Mm-hmm. So it was probably easier for me to be a great dad because I had an example to follow.
Okay.
All right. I was reading over your information. At one point you went on a dark road and you were dealing with some drugs and everything. What was it that made you want to turn your life around and do better?
Well, I'm an avid member of Narcotics Anonymous. Let me say that first. And we have a section in our literature that talks about hitting bottom, when you can no longer deny and you come face to face with what your life has become. And everybody hits that bottom. Some people never make it out. But I was fortunate and blessed enough to realize that after I had burned all my bridges and I had nowhere else to turn, I asked God, I begged God to please help me. If I got to continue to live this way, then kill me now. And he heard my prayer, even though I thought that he didn't mess with people like me. He still deemed me good enough to save, man. And I am forever grateful for that.
Amen.
That's dope right there.
Yeah,
Rich. Hey, Sterling, I got to ask you too, man, because, battling drug addiction and coming out on the other side, that is a difficult thing. And I commend you for that, brother. You are inspiration and your story, just what you said. When people hear this, they're going to be inspired and touched by it. To see you come through something difficult like that, parenting is difficult as well. And being a dad, we talked about it earlier, is very challenging and tough. But for you, father of 7, the first one was tough. Now, at number 7, how much easier did it get for you? Did 7 more, was it easy, or just as hard for you?
All right, now let me give a little background to the 7. Now y'all looking at me like I'm an Olympic athlete or something. That's not.
You are superhero.
I actually created 3.
Okay.
but 4 stepchildren. But they are my children. I raise them as my own.
For that, yeah. That's
the young lady that I met in the fellowship had 4 children, and together we built a family. We were like the Brady Bunch.
Nice.
And we built a life together. And 2 years ago, I lost her to cancer. And it was tough, man. Listen,
sorry to hear that, man.
I've done some tough stuff, man, but that was the toughest thing I ever had to do, was to go through that and still know. But she loved her kids so much, and she taught me how to love children. And, I still do that. They're still mine. They still call me daddy. It was blessed. Our family was blessed, and I still continue that. It's easy in honor of her. I have to continue to honor and love the children.
That's strong, man. That's real strong.
Yeah, man. Wow. That's tough right there.
Real tough, bro.
What advice would you give to another father that went down the similar road as you and that's struggling to get them to turn their life around and be there for their child?
I would say fatherhood is a lot like teaching. First of all, it doesn't come with an instructions manual. There's no book on how to be a father. We learn trial by fire. Now, because I had experience with 7 of them, I got a little better with every child. So by the time the 7th one was going through school, I was an expert. I knew all the game. I knew I had dealt with all the attitude and tried to be their friend and let them manipulate me for money because I'm trying to pay for love. I learned all the game. By the time the 7th one was growing up, she ain't had nothing coming. Nothing. Coming for straight fatherhood. That's what I'm here for. I'm not here to be a friend. I'm here to guide you and protect you.
You gotta give Nick Cannon that advice.
Yeah, man. No owner's manual though, man. It's a gut thing. That's why so many of us fail at doing it, because it's a gut thing. It's a gut check time. I don't know. We have various definitions of what a man is, but my father told me that a man's primary job is to raise and take care of his children and leave a legacy, so that each generation makes some kind of progress. So I try, I try my best to do that. I ain't perfect. I don't walk on water. But I just try to, and I said this in the bio, instead of counting my days, I try to make my days count.
Wow. Words to live by, brother.
I love that. And I like that you said that we still learning, because I got 3 and I'm still learning right now.
It is. It's true. And you get better as you go. It's not, and it's no textbook thing. Now, one thing about father, I'm going to say this to all you guys, because I heard all of you share about it. We have the most unsung job in the world. Mother's Day is flowers and candy on every corner, and selling baskets and all of that. Father's Day, if you yawn, it's gone.
True.
Just like that. I know you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I just had, this weekend past was the best Father's Day I've had in my life. Where all my kids acknowledged me, they came and got me, took me out to eat, and I didn't have to pay. Yes. Absolutely. I didn't have to put out a dime. They came and got me. Dad, don't do nothing. We come and get you at noon, and we're gonna take you out. So, and that meant all the world to me, man. So, they curse us when we leave, and they forget us when we stay.
Very well said, man.
Yeah.
Keep being great, man. Keep being great.
I try.
One of the things you said, and with 7 kids, I mean, I guess we all trying to understand that you didn't say trial and error, because there is no book on being a parent, and we all know that. But you said trial by fire. So what was different with yours that made it trial by fire instead of trial and error?
Well, when I started, I was in active addiction, which meant my priorities was totally screwed up. But because I had a father, I remember my dad saying to me, and he's been gone for years, but he still lives in me. I remember him saying to me, he said, boy, I don't know how you do it, but you always take care of that boy. And I looked up at him and I said, my daddy always took care of me. You know what I mean? So that was the only example I had to follow. And he said that, and I was deep in addiction then. You know, I was unrecognizable.
Wow.
And see how important that is. Like, even with what you were dealing with, the impression that your father left with you, no matter what struggles you were going through, that was imprinted in your consciousness, that it came out even with whatever you were going through.
Yes, even strung out, bro. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Ryan. Even caught up, it was so deeply ingrained in me to be a responsible man that I was still able to pull it off.
That's important, man. That's a lesson right there in itself, bro.
You made me realize I hadn't even thought about it like that, but yeah, that's exactly what happened, man. So, and the purpose to take it on a deeper level. I am honored, first of all, to be in the company of men. I never thought that what I do every day at Lincoln Tech and what I do for my son and for my children would put me in you guys' company. That in itself is an honor that I never expected. So to hear, I'm sitting on the lot. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm sitting on the parking lot of my job. We got a event going on where all of the local employers are around talking to our students. And I'm sitting on the lot watching these people interact. And I get the call yesterday from Radio 1. And I'm at my truck, man. And the lady said, I have never won anything in my life. And while I'm giving, the lady called me and said, can you be a part of the call? I said, ma'am, I would be honored. And I am. And I am. And I needed to tell all of y'all that I honestly appreciate the fact that, because we do this without expecting to be recognized. And I still don't. But I'm honored that I am. I'm honored that you guys have done that for me.
Well, we honored that you were here, and we honored that you were willing to share, man, on the Inspire Him Awards 2023.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
And you winning that life, man. Congratulations and everything.
Thank you, bro.
And if you're just tuning in, you're checking out the 2023 Inspire Him Awards presented by AnyoneRides.com as we're celebrating Black fathers in the community. And all of us here are fathers. I got a question for you. What was the most challenging part, or what has been the most challenging part of you being a father?
Being patient. Within the media industry, we know everything is fast with us. Like, we got to be here, we got to be there, we got to be there. And with the dad, like, you have to be patient and teach your kids different things that you personally didn't learn when you was a child either. So in those growing moments, it's like patience is like something that is important to being a dad, because everything else, I don't care what you're going through in the world, you'll figure everything else out. They got to eat, they need some clothes, they need to get to wherever they're going at, you're going to figure it out. But when it comes to just you and that child and you in that room, and it's a frustrating moment, they did something that's frustrating to you, to kind of like retract from some of the things that you went through as a trauma as a kid, to be patient with your child. I think that's the most like challenging thing as a dad still. To me, it's just being patient.
Good point.
Yeah,
for you.
Well, me, of course, losing a child, but on top of that, understanding that not that they're just watching, but there's so much that you have. There's so much that you have to do to be prepared to make sure that you do everything for them that you didn't have for yourself. And trying to make sure they get the right education, making sure they take the right steps, because once you let them go, they out there. The world has them after that. The streets have them, the school has them, everybody else has them. So, just trying to make sure that you stay on top of everything that's going on with them. That's tough, man. And you just got to be on it.
DJ Little Eyes.
I say I say just being a father, period, is very challenging because you want to live up to the full expectations of raising your kids. You really want to be there for them 24/7, knowing that you really can't. And it's real tough when you can't do something and it's expected of you. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you want to love and raise on them, but it comes to times where it's really hard, where you got to make sacrifices and make them decisions. So some decision making be very hard in parenting.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that too, man, because I was gonna kind of say something similar too. I think sometimes my expectations I got to kind of temper. Like I want so much for my child, but I also got to realize that they're their own person. You know what I mean? And I got to kind of let them be them and not force so much of me and what I want on them. And finding that balance sometimes is tricky, because you don't want to put unnecessary pressure on your children for something that you want that they have no desire to be a part of. So yeah, balance, man. Balance in parenting, I think, can be tough sometimes if you don't find that right level and find that sweet spot.
Yeah. Chap?
I don't know. I guess mine will be more mental. As someone that goes to therapy and trying to get myself together, it's hard trying to get myself together and still be father. Because I'm on a path like worrying about myself. That's what the therapist say. You got to make sure you right before you can do anything for the kids. So I feel like I'm going through my tough time being a father right now. So I'll let you know next year and inspire him how I did.
2024.
Doing good so far though.
It's tough. Like you try to do everything y'all said, be patient, like Fat. You learn and you keep learning, and Cole and y'all know it ain't no book like everybody keeps saying.
Well, technically, there's a book, but
somebody wrote one.
What's the name of that book?
That's the two of us.
You got an author on board, okay?
Yeah,
even I'm pretty sure when Kelson wrote the book, he had to think about everything he went through and going through, and he still got chapters to write because Blake and all our kids are still kids.
Yeah.
Wait till the kids get teenagers and then young adults. And then, you got to change your parenting as they grow.
And no child is the same, so you're parenting differently for each of your child.
Yeah.
I know one of the challenging parts for me was when, like, just simply just letting her go because, it's always her and I. She's become my security blanket because, in the book I talk about going through divorce. You guys know going through divorce, and then we had COVID and everything. So it's just me and Blake. I'm just so used to always being around her. So as much as she needs me, I need her. So that's one of the challenging things for me, I would say.
Right. I'm going to say this for everybody. I'm going to speak for all of us because we all do radio. We all do events. We're all out juggling your radio schedule, your schedule with the kids when they got events and stuff like that, or recitals or any of that stuff with school. That's another thing that I think all of us as fathers deal with because you want to be there for every event and sometimes you just can't.
Right.
Yep. That's real.
Yeah.
And fellas, I think it's just about time, man. I mean, shoot, we got another 2023 Inspire Him Awards under our belt and completed, man. So I want to congratulate all of you guys, man, because I've watched all of y'all grow as fathers. I've watched all of y'all in the industry, in this industry that we're in, grow and become great men. So my hat's off to you guys. I salute you. And, it's a pleasure to be able to come together like this and recognize and honor the men in our community when we're doing it just for them. And we, sometimes we forget to recognize ourselves. So I want to recognize each of you, man, and salute all of y'all, man.
Thank you. I know I've spoken to all of y'all about parenting, like took little tidbits about this and that and everything. So I definitely salute y'all as well.
Like it's hard to raise a son that's your boss. It's hard to look at Kelson and be like, look what I made. Look at my boy. And he's now my boss. Thank you, son.
Better be lucky we keep it PG, okay?
Come on with it. I'm ready.
I will see you in the morning.
Well, next we have to give out one of our awards, 2023 Inspire Him Awards, presented by anyonerise.com, of course. This award goes to Cornell Dews, a teacher in and out of school, role model in the community, gives kids a safe haven for refuge. Give it up for Cornell Dews.
Yeah, Cornell.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Congratulations, Cornell. We wanted to salute you for being one of the best fathers around. And we wanted to inspire you to keep going, man. And keep doing your thing, man. Salute.
Thank you. Can I start off by saying this, please? This is a very extremely humbling award for me, right? And as I was listening to all of the other recipients, I realized that it's not an individual award. You know, like I'm not here and being acknowledged in this way by you all for just things that I'm doing as a solo artist, you know, per se. But again, it's extremely humbling, and I thank you for acknowledging me.
No, we thank you for what you do in the community, and you know, always helping the next generation and everything. Explain some things of what you do.
Well, I am an educator. I started teaching in 1999 from Baltimore. Born and raised in East Baltimore, the Darley Park community area, Harford Road in Darley. That's my home. My family, we still have my family home there on Darley Avenue.
Hey, on 18, baby.
Went to Lake Clifton. Was part of a business program, a 4-year business program for high school students that prepared us for careers in the financial service industry, the Academy of Finance. So I wanted to pursue a career as a stockbroker, an investment banker, work on Wall Street, get some money. But I went to the Million Man March in '95, and the charge that was extended by the minister was we as Black men need to return to our community and do some positive things to help rebuild the community, right? And I accepted the charge wholeheartedly. Initially, I just wrote a mentor proposal to go back to Lake Clifton and work with the 9th grade boys who were having difficulties transitioning from middle school to high school while I was still working in banking. Nice. But I found my mentorship to be more gratifying to me than just chasing a dollar. So in 1999, when you could still find jobs in the classified section, I was looking for a new job. And I saw where it said, if you're interested in serving your community, working with juveniles ages 14 to 17, being a mentor, being a role model, send your application here, right? And I looked at it, and the address was 401 East Eager Street. And if any of you are familiar with that address, it's the Baltimore City Jail, right? So the job at the time was a special educator working over the jail, working with students on L section who had been charged as adults and were awaiting trial before sentencing. And I at first I was kind of hesitant, like, I don't know if I want to work over the jail. You know what I mean? But then the Spirit spoke to me and said, if that's what you really want to do and you feel you was called to do, and that is to serve, who need the service more than these young men and women who find themselves in this predicament? So that was in 1999, the fall of 1999. I left the financial service industry that year, and I've continued to work in that field since. So I'm an educator. And I like to say that the world is my classroom, and in it, I'm both student and teacher. So that's what I do. I'm an educator. I'm a servant. I like to say that.
Wow. Salute, man.
That's major. Powerful. Yeah.
That's powerful right there.
Thank you.
And we know in the classroom, it's not really easy with the kids coming in with different attitudes and thinking they know everything.
You're right.
So it takes a lot of patience, I'm sure.
It's a whole lot of patience, sir. It's a whole lot of patience. But like I said, I believe that it's an act of service. I don't think this is it's not the career that I chose for myself, right? I believe that teaching is an act of service, and it's a career or a field that was chosen for me, and I've accepted it wholeheartedly, jumped in it head first, and I've been there since 1999, and I don't intend to transition out of the classroom anytime soon or to serve in whatever capacity that I'm allowed to.
Cornell, I gotta ask you.
Yes.
My bad.
No, go ahead, Ryan.
You said, you stopped chasing a dollar and you went this route, and this has been very gratifying for you.
Yes.
Spoke about some of the challenges dealing with some of these kids,
yes,
and can only imagine how difficult that can be at times. But how gratifying is it for you as well when you do get through to some of these kids and you do make a difference, and you can see that your influence has actually changed the path of someone? How does that make you feel?
Ryan, it means so much to me. So, as I stated, I started teaching in 1999. Just to give this example, I first started teaching at the Baltimore City Detention Center. It's been renamed the school. Well, we know the jail was shut down, but the school is still present. It's called Eager Street Academy, right? And I taught there for 2 years. Didn't have a clue what I was doing though. I just wanted to serve. So after 2 years, I had an opportunity to work at Furman L. Templeton Elementary School right on Pennsylvania Avenue in the heart of West Baltimore. Now, I'm from East Baltimore, and everybody from Baltimore know our city is kind of divided and territorial, right? Mm-hmm. So I graduated from Coppin. Prior to going to Coppin, I stayed in East Baltimore, right? So I wasn't familiar with West Baltimore, but since I've had the experience to work there, fell in love with West Baltimore, and West Baltimore fell in love with me. But I'll say this, young men that I had the privilege and opportunity to work with in 2001, I started in 2001 and I worked there up until 2006, 2007. They were still young men, first and second graders. And I'm referencing men because the principal at the time identified something in me that made her trust me enough to create an all boys class and have me be the leader of that classroom. I still have relationships. This is one of the proudest moments for me in education. I still have relationships with young men who I had the privilege of teaching first and second grade, who still, as grown men now with families of their own, refer to me and introduce me as their teacher, right? I haven't taught them in more than 20 years, but when they introduce me to their peers, when they introduce me to family, when they introduce me to anybody, they refer to me as Mr. Dews, their teacher. So when you ask the question, I realized at the time that I was just planting seeds, right? And we know this as educators. Oftentimes, we'll never see those seeds grow to fruition. We'll never see them, but it's a blessing if you have the opportunity. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking real loud. You know,
you're good.
But it's a blessing. It's a blessing to see those seeds that I planted, that fruit grow from those trees, right? So I've had that privilege. Right now, I am working with a new set of young people, middle school kids. And again, I just realized I'm just depositing seeds. You know, I know one thing about our young people, they're going to be consistently who they are from August till June, right? But maybe in a few years, they'll recall what it was that I tried to share with them, that I introduced to them in sixth grade or first grade. I've had the privilege to teach every grade from 1st to 12th. And maybe it's something that I'll share with them that they'll remember, you know. And Ryan, the question that you asked, I've had that experience with a lot of the young men who I was able to teach at Furman L. Templeton Elementary School starting back in 2001.
Beautiful.
You might as well become a preacher. You just preach to us this time, man.
One of the things,
I might be.
One of the things I will say that you probably thought and realized later on is that when you are a good teacher or you're passionate about what you do, you're like a coach.
Yes,
people always remember their football coach, basketball coach, because they remember the things they instilled in them, the discipline, and that they weren't really so hard on them, but they were hard enough to get through to them. So that's what you ended up being because you were a good teacher, and that speaks volumes for you. Now, going into the institution opposed to the school, what was the difference that you saw with the kids that were already incarcerated or held up?
Unfortunately, Conan, it wasn't much of a difference, right? And I'll share this with you. At the time when I first started teaching over the jail, I was 28 years old. I was 28. Wow. I was 25 years old.
So you were able to connect with them, though.
Exactly. And I told them it's only by the grace of God that I'm standing here as your teacher and not on another section over here as a peer of yours, right? So I know that as an educator, and I know this as a young man growing up where we grew up and how we grew up, that it's really just a lack of exposure and a lack of opportunity. These young men and young ladies at the time who I was working with over the jail, they just got caught up. That's it. You know, they just got caught up. So that gave me the motivation more so than anything when I transitioned to public schools to try to prevent them, the young men and young women who I was in, the young lives I was entrusted with at that time, to try to prevent them from going over there. Right? I had that knowledge, I had that experience, and I would even go as far as to bring young men who I taught on L section to the elementary school to work with my students there. Man, tell them where they trying not to go, right? Because a lot of I was working with kids that grew up in McCullough Homes, West Baltimore, Pennsylvania Avenue. They go hard, right? Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, and we know it's unfortunate that the people that they were looking up to didn't look like me, didn't look like you. They look like the dudes that was on the corner. But I challenge even the young men that's on the corner, because we come from where they come from. We just made different decisions when we came to that fork in the road. And I try to encourage my young people, look, I'm just like you. And I had a decision to make. And at times, by the grace of God, I just didn't get jammed up in some of the foolishness. And I had a praying grandmother and a praying mother that prevented things from happening. Like we all, I'm sure, had. Right? But I use my experience, my personal life experience, and my professional experience to try to deposit something positive into our young men who I had the privilege to teach, and young ladies as well, to prevent them from going that route. And by the grace of God, I've had some success. You know, I've had some success, and those are the conversations that I have with the older students that I had the opportunity to teach as young boys and young girls.
Cornell, I want to ask you, because I grew up around that way. I grew up on Aikman Street and Bonaparte.
Yes, sir. My main name,
and it was real easy to lose focus. It was real tough growing up around there. So I want to ask you, what kept you grounded and motivated? I know you said you had a praying grandmother, but what else inspired you to keep going?
It was a couple of things. My home that I come from, right? I had a fortunate. I was fortunate enough to be raised in the house with both my parents and my grandmother, right? So I'm born in the 70s, but I'm a product of the 80s more so, because that's when I grew up and came of age. So we know during the 80s, the community was different, right? And I like to refer to the 80s as the last best decade. It was different then, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what saved me. My father was present. Now, I will say this. God bless the dead. Both my parents passed away from cancer. My mom just passed away on the 23rd of March of this year. I wish she was here. Thank you. I wish she was here to be able to celebrate this day with me, because as I stated when I first joined you, that this is humbling and it's not an individual award, right? But what happened, DJ Twisted, is this. I was in the house with both my parents. My father fell victim to societal ills, though. Right? He had substance abuse issues, but his presence alone, that's what a lot of men don't understand. And I was listening to Sterling when he was talking, just your presence alone. I don't care what it is that you're dealing with. Your presence alone as a man, the impact and the influence that it has on a male child is very impactful. He was there. My mother was a mother to me. The people outside of my home had the same values, morals, and principles that was instilled and embedded me in the house, and the same expectations from me. I'll share one man in particular, and you'll know this name. It's a gentleman named Mr. Wardell Tate, who lived on my block in the 1700 block of Darley Avenue. Unfortunately, Mr. Tate, a few years ago, lost his life in his home, right? He was one of the first families. The Tates was one of the first families to integrate that neighborhood. But I'll tell you what Mr. Tate would do. Every time he would see me in the neighborhood, my family called me man. He would pull me aside. Man, let me speak to you. How you doing in school? Show me your report card. He was a family member, an extension of the family from the home that I came from, right? And Mr. Tate is just one person that I'm referencing. But we had Mr. and Mrs. Russell. We had Mrs. Tate. We had Miss Thelma. We had Mr. Story. So it was a community that raised me. You know, it was a community that raised me. And it was certain expectations that was placed on me, sir. So, and one of the things that was extremely big to me then and still, I didn't want to disappoint my people. You know, I didn't want to disappoint them. So that's the thing. So they would see me hanging with the homeboys. And plus, I was all right being who I am. So if my homeboys came around and was doing something they had no business doing, they already knew not to include me. And I was all right standing up saying, man, I'm not doing that. And nobody's going to make me do it. You know, and I'm all right with that. And that's the thing. I was confident in myself, and I didn't want to disappoint my family.
True indeed. Blessings, man. That's
blessings. We got some gems tonight, fellas. We got some gems tonight.
Yeah, man. Indeed.
Mr. Cornell Dudes, we definitely thank you for tonight and honor you for your work in the community with our Inspire Him 2023 award and a certificate, all courtesy of anyonerides.com. Thank you, man.
Thank you,
well
sir.
deserved, brother.
Salute, man.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
You too.
All right.
Right.
Well,
I tell you.
Testimony, man.
Jeez.
Testimony, man.
I don't know about the Inspire Her Awards, but I'm trying to tell you, Inspire Her Awards was powerful tonight, bro.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Right.
And we're not even finished. We got one more.
Okay.
Let's do
recipient to bring to the stage for the 2023 Inspire Him Awards being presented by anyonerise.com. Y'all, please help me welcome Mr. Michael Thompson.
All right, man. Am I back? Can y'all hear me?
Can y'all
hear me now? Huh?
We can hear you, Mike.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. Cornell just dropped some jewels, man. He came through the clutch.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look, I ain't want to give that Randallstown High School no bad name, man. So my
already did,
man. This is when you need your son around here, man. The tech guru, you know?
Yeah.
But my wife came through the clutch, you know. Behind a strong man is a strong black woman, and she came through the clutch for me, man. So now I got her device. But this is an honor, man. I'm just grateful, man. I got that same phone call, man, that Sterling got, man, and I was so excited. Because sometimes the work that you do, you don't even, you know, sometimes you don't even do it for the accolades of, you know, wanting the pat on your back and stuff like that. You just do it because of your passion, because that's your calling. You do it because these are the things that you want to do in life. And when I got that phone call, I made sure that I ain't have nothing to do with it. I made sure that I was present to be a part of this call. So it's an honor, man. And this panel that's on the line right now, I really appreciate you all. Pork Chop, you know, you and your wife, man, been doing the college tours, and we could talk about that every year, man. We're exposing kids to the HBCU college process, man. So as black men who've come out of an HBCU himself, Shaw University, Raleigh, North Carolina, wanted to shout that out. We're exposing these young men and women to the HBCU college process with the hopes that they may choose one of the particular schools. Conan, my wife, been following you, man, for years, man. When I first moved to Baltimore, I'm from Harlem, New York. So I ain't really know nothing about all that club music. You know, I made it work. I had to adapt to it. And Kels, I had you at Randallstown High School. You moved about, you know, your business. I've been watching you, though. I've been watching you. And it's so crazy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
When I was one of the coordinators at UMBC, I had to reach back to some of my students to make sure that you come and talk to some of the kids at UMBC Upward Bound program when I was one of the coordinators up there. So sometimes you make an impact. Sometimes you never know who you impact in your teaching moments. And Kels, you was moving about your business at Randallstown, and I saw the work that you was doing in the community with 92Q. So I said, let me reach back to you to see if you want to come and talk to my kids, because they hear from us a lot. And we talk about fathers, man. They hear from us a lot. Sometimes you got to let some others kind of, you know, drop a jewel to some of these particular students or these kids with the hopes that they will, you know, hold on to something and use it in their walk in life. So I just want to introduce myself, man. I'm rocking my Ferg brand. I know I put in the chat Ferg forever. That's another story I can share with you all. But what questions you have for me?
Mike,
I mean, I can talk. The brother Cornell, man, he was coming out of the jail system. When I first moved here in 1992, I too worked in the Baltimore detention center as a pretrial release investigator. My uncle was Lamont Flanagan. He was the commissioner of the prison. And that's how I came up from North Carolina and started working in that whole criminal justice field. And I was a pretrial release investigator over in the JI building. And then I worked there for a couple of years, and then they built Central Booking. And then they lateral transfer. It was a lateral transfer of many staff members who wanted to work in Central Booking. So I was elected to work in Central Booking as an arrest booking officer. So in 94, somewhere around there, I worked at Central Booking as an arrest booking officer, processing incoming inmates. I became a little more conscious and aware as a black man because there were so many Caucasian officers and white officers bringing our black men into that institution for minor infractions, loitering in front of your own home. And I said, you know what, I can't do this no more. So I became a little more conscious. And I said, you know what, I worked there from 94 to like 97, 98. And then I left and went into education because I got tired of seeing so many of our young kids go inside that T section that Cornell talked about, that T section, that J section. And they was coming in on school buses. I'm talking about school buses. They was coming in. And I said, you know, I became a little more aware, a little more conscious. I had to get out that environment because sometimes you felt like I was becoming a product of that environment. So I said, you know what, I got to get out. And I went into education. I went to education in 2000. And I started working at Randallstown High School in 2000 as a behavior specialist, in-school suspension specialist, keeping kids in school, kids that were on the verge of getting suspended. No, let me get them and let me find a way to keep them in school by doing restorative circles, by doing programs that I've learned from David Miller's curriculum, Dare to Be King, working closely with Dr. Shields with the Cambio Group. And I've been working with them for years. I tell another story, got a chance to go to Haiti with Dr. Shields and doing a mission trip. So it was just a lot of men who I was surrounded by, not my father, but it was the village of being around positive black men who kind of gird me to become a better black man as well. I'm a father of two. My son is Jabari Thompson, who just graduated from Morgan State University this past year. Yeah, just graduated. So we talk about fatherhood. Fatherhood does work because I played an integral part in his walk through the whole collegiate career because I was a product of an HBCU. He had times where he wanted to say, you know what, Dad, I just can't do this. But my wife and I, you know, we talked to him, you know, you can't give up because you're almost at the finish line. And I think sometimes schoolwork is designed for you to kind of just, you know, I can't do this anymore. But we weathered the storm and we made sure that he kept pushing through because I was there as a college student where I say, you know what, I can't do this. But I had to continuously push through where I couldn't go back to New York on a full scholarship to say, Mom, I can't do it no more. And I lost a full ride scholarship. So there were moments where, you know, we had conversations with Jabari to push through. On the flip side of it, I have a daughter who goes to Johnson C. Smith University. She's a rising senior. And she's also the 97th Miss JCSU. You're talking about a proud father. And the 97th Miss JCSU. She will forever be Eston Stone at JCSU. And then she's also a part of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority. And I'm just proud as a father to say, you know, they're making their own strides. But one thing about fatherhood and parenthood is that there are parents that are present physically, but still not present, you know, emotionally or having those conversations. There are parents who work 2-3 jobs, and I respect that. Go home, go to sleep, get up, and go right back and, you know, right back to that same old job. But then you have these kids fending for themselves, going out into the community and just trying to figure out who else can I ask to be my dad. And that dad becomes, you know, the dealers, the drug dealers or the drugs, and they confide into something different. And I think that's kind of where we're losing them. So just to piggyback on some of the things that I do as a community, as far as being honored with this community award, I just received the Golden Drum Award this past weekend with Dr. Shields over in Session Street, and we got a chance to do a 5K during AFRAM, and we walked around AFRAM. So that was another honor that I received recently. I'm a part of Caring for Young Minds. Caring for Young Minds, we do HBCU college tours that I've shared. I've been doing that since 2000. We take about 150 students to HBCU schools all over the place. Some of the schools that you are probably familiar with, from the Morehouse, the Clark, the Spelman, the Shaw University, Virginia State, and so many other schools, Xavier, Dillard, FAMU. We just came back this past week at FAMU. We take students to the Raven Stadium where they can get service learning hours So if you're a high school student, and if you know of any high school students, we're going to be going back this year. So if you know of any high school students, please reach out to me where they can get service learning hours and work at our concession stand. We have our own concession stand. They get a chance to actually earn some income while they participate at our particular stand. They get a chance to sometimes go into the little area to watch some of the game. Some of our kids have never even been to the Ravens Stadium, and they're from Baltimore. And then we also do some of the Oriole games as well. I'm also a residential coordinator with Shepherd Pratt System, so I work closely with mental health clients. We kind of do that on call where, I kind of understand the bipolar schizophrenia aspect of what they're dealing with on a daily basis. I kind of enjoy doing that because as a father, I became a better listener. Us New Yorkers, we have a tendency to be one to talking. I know everything, boom, boom, boom. We want to talk. I know everything. So Jabari, you got to listen to me. I've taken that down, and I became a better listener, not just with my son, but a lot of other students. We seem to have a tendency to know everything, but I said, let me just take a step back and let me just listen. Listening has helped me become a better father, a better person, because now I'm understanding what kind of rebuttal to have. And not only just that, is that understanding their language. Back in my days, I don't even use that jargon no more. Well, back in my days. That was back in my days. Now we have to kind of cater to what they're seeing now. And I think somebody said the social media, the chat. I mean, it's stuff that they sharing me with me. I have no idea what them little chat lines look like. So I'm learning, because as a father, you want to know what that chat look like, because a lot of these kids are real sneaky with it, and they hide a lot of stuff in their fathers. And then we found out at the later stages in life, and it's like, damn, I wish I would have known. I wish I would have had that conversation with my son or my daughter years ago. At my school, I'm a part of a PBIS program where it's just dealing with positive behavior. Man, during the COVID years, man, I was actually doing home visits. A lot of our kids wasn't even logging on to be engaged in their academic assignments. So I said, you know what? I created a program called I Care, We Care. So I said, give me some cue cards from the administrative staff. I will go to their homes and meet them where they are. And I will get them to log on. Let me just get you to log on to your assignment. And then once you log on, now the teacher sees you, and now the teacher said, okay, now I can get you engaged. And that was one of the things that I was able to implement at my school. I'm also one of the SEL social emotional teachers at Milford Mill Evening School. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you talk about fatherhood, not just in the home. I mean, I'm out in that community getting busy. As a SEL teacher at Milford Mill Evening School on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we getting kids to salvage their credits so that they can at least matriculate to their senior year, or there are some seniors who can matriculate through graduation because they wasn't able to make that grade in that high school level. So that was another key component as far as my walk, as far as my passion of seeing kids succeed. I'm also a part of an organization called ILOF, the International League of Families. Many of you all know D. Chase, Zeke Way. We have an organization called International League of Families. So every Sunday we get together as Black families and we do potluck dinners at each person's home. So each next weekend somebody else will host it. This past Father's Day was so great because the wives really put it together for the men. And we talk about, the women getting flowers and all that stuff. Listen, I was just happy for that fellowship. And sometimes that fellowship, somebody talked about the mental aspect of it early on. I think Cornell talked about it, or Sterling talked about the mental component. It's so needed because mentally, you can just say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm out. I'm done. I'm done, man. I'm out. But mentally, that fellowship is so needed because we're all going through something. And it's just so important to just have that fellowship with other Black men. But one thing I wanted to share was that and some other stuff I do with State Senator Bobby Zirkin. I mean, I'm always
Mike is telling you busy giving back to the community.
When do you sleep?
Doing your thing.
I sleep when I die, man. But I do try to find some common peace. School just ended on the 13th. I got summer school starting in the next couple of weeks at Powhatan Elementary School. So I'm working closely with some special education students.
Well, Mike, we thank you for everything, brother.
Man, I'm telling you, man, I really appreciate this because it's an inspiration to inspire. I'm gonna leave with this, man. I always tell my kids to, you must aspire to inspire before you expire. And I wanted to share that because I want to aspire. I want to aspire to inspire others.
Right. Well, we hear the passion, my brother. We hear the
life
passion.
is so short, and because life is so short, we could be gone. And I want to inspire others before I expire. And and with one more thing I want to share too, man. I'm a member of New Antioch Baptist Church. I'm on that camera crew, so we got live streamings on Sundays. And I also want to say one more thing too, man, is that I always tell my students that you must go through what you go through. And I'm feeling that as well. Despite being a father, I'm still growing. And fatherhood works, but I'm growing through what I'm going through. And I really appreciate that, Kels, man, because I watched you when you was coming up and you cut a few classes too, man. I think I wanted to see you a couple of times. But I held off, man, because I think I knew your parents, man. But I appreciate you, Pork Chop, Conan, DJ Twisted, Fats, Ryan, Dylan, Ariel, and the young lady that gave me a call. So I really appreciate this honor, man. I know I can get to talking, man, but thank y'all so much.
Salute, man. Hey, thank great, man. Get some rest.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I will, man. I will. Thank y'all so much. Ferg forever, man. So my brother passed away, man. This is ASAP Ferg. So ASAP Ferg is my nephew. So he's doing the music. So I keep the legacy alive through merchandise. So my brother passed away. We had the store in Harlem. So I just keep the legacy alive. So I got some merchandise for any of you all that reach out to me. I got some merchandise for y'all. So let me know your sizes. But it's a whole story because my brother did the Bad Boy logo for Puffy. And he also did the Uptown logo for Andre Harrell.
Right.
So it's another backstory. It's a backstory behind that. And Teddy Riley, he did the Lego guy for Teddy Riley. So it's a lot of stuff that go behind the scenes because back in the days, it was a different story.
Yep,
but we weren't all the way we, how we used to be. You know what I'm saying? We changed around. So as you can see, I just keep the legacy alive with my brother on him. That's ASAP Ferg father, and I keep the legacy alive through merchandise. But right now he's in Paris, man. But I love you, brothers, man. I don't know you, man, but it's 4 types of love, man. It's Greek: agape, eros, phileo, and stergo. Focus on them, man.
There you go.
I love you, brothers, man.
More gems.
I appreciate the honor, y'all. Thank you so much.
Bro. Be good.
All right, Mike.
Good, Mike.
All right, Mike.
Crazy.
Yep, brother. Salute, brother.
Yeah, man.
Mike had that passion, boy.
Yeah. And I
like some great men tonight.
One of my favorites of Inspire Him Awards, because it just continues to grow, and you see the heart of men that really want to give back and help change the community, and that's amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Conan,
what you want to say, Chop?
I want to say tonight because we got to get up. Thank you all for inspiring us.
Yes.
And don't forget, keep inspiring, man. If you're a father or a father figure, do not stop your job. We will see y'all next year at the 2024 Inspire Him Awards. Good night.
All right. And this was 2023 being brought to you by anyonerise.com. Fellas, much love and respect to you all, man.
Definitely.
All right.
Appreciate y'all, fellas. Thank you once again.
God bless y'all. Good night.
Good night. God bless.
Congratulations to all the men recognized for their work in the community with the 2023 Inspire Him Awards, presented by AnyoneRides.com, where Zero Down delivers.